Greetings, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. But because aggression never takes a holiday, I want to spend the next couple of videos talking to you about some of the odd but also very dangerous manifestations that occur when dogs utilize aggression or how they respond to fear itself. Today, I want to go over no warnings. In other words, when you feel like you just got sucker punched by a dog. I was talking to a few clients last week, and that's exactly what happened to them. One of them was petting a dog at a dog park. The dog walked up, it was friendly, wagging his tail, what I call the killdeer of dogs. But nevertheless, she was petting the dog, and suddenly she says, out of nowhere, no warning, the dog nipped her. And then another client, it was their own dog. They pet the dog all day long, and all of a sudden the dog hops up on the sofa. First time they allow the dog on the sofa, they start petting the dog. No growl, no stiffening, just a bite right then and there. That's happened to me in multiple contexts. Over the years, I have been sucker punched by dogs, and it can leave you a little bit frustrated, angry, fearful because it might happen again. And you leave also just start scratching your head going, what the heck? Why didn't you just give me a little bit of warning there? I would have been glad to either get off the sofa or let you get off the sofa, whatever, but you felt like you needed to bite me. Why does this happen? Well, let's go over it real quick. Let's break it down and I'll tell you what to do. Well, first of all, why would you give a warning in the first place? Why do animals warn? The benefit is obvious, no fight. If I warn you, then I avoid a physical confrontation with you. That's the goal. I'm letting you know, don't come over here, or I'm letting you know I am coming over there, and I'm going to take whatever it is you have, or don't get in my space. You're kind of scaring me here. They are trying to avoid a fight, a physical confrontation. Now, what's the detriment of warning? Well, it's very costly from an energy standpoint, and that means a lot to a wild animal, maybe not so much for your dog, but nevertheless, they still think a lot like a wild animal. It's very costly, energy-wise, to be throwing your hackles up, snarling, showing your teeth, standing taut, stiff-legged, very stressful and very costly. Also, the biggest thing, it may not work. You just showed your hand. Now the other animal, the other opponent knows what you're about to do, knows what you think you're capable of doing. And now you just may have given them 1 or 2 seconds to assess the situation, determine, you can growl all you want, but I think I can handle the situation. You just showed your hand. And now when this happens and the dog is overcome by perceived threat or an opponent, then they will start to no longer warn. No longer warn. So let's talk about that. Why does no warning occur in dogs? Because we certainly don't see this with wild animals. This, I have never seen this, never read about it being documented in any research that I know of. A lot of my colleagues who still operate out in the wild, they don't see it. Warning, physical contact in the wild is incredibly risky, and why predators go to extreme lengths to avoid that at all costs. I don't want to have to touch you, and I darn sure don't want you touching me. So what happened to dogs? Why do dogs suddenly decide we won't warn you? We'll just go ahead and go for that physical conflict. Well, number one, we believe it could be learned. Social learning. I mean, after all, you learn all your other aspects of complex forms of social behavior through either direct experience or by observing someone else. That direct experience is you try to warn, but it doesn't work. It fails you miserably. The other dog keeps approaching, the other person keeps approaching, and next thing you know, you feel like you have to make them go away from you by getting physical with them. That's direct experience. I tried warning over and over and over again to no avail. So why bother? The other one is learned. They learn it by observing other dogs and how they handle particular or the same like situations. And they also learn it from you, believe it or not. And I'll get into that in a second. The other plausible cause is altered brain wiring. Yeah, see, experiments have been done on rats, and these experiments have revealed that these rats, during what we call species-specific aggression and predatory aggression, that both of these aspects of aggression are controlled by very different brain neural pathways. Yeah, they're controlled by completely opposite neural pathways. However, we believe that with the selective pressure that we've placed on the many and various functions of dog aggression and dog predatory aggression, that we somehow may have affected the organization of these brain systems. And that makes a whole lot of sense. For instance, just this morning, I was on a small hike, short hike that is, with Captain, and on 4 separate occasions, he lit out after a squirrel. He didn't warn the squirrel. He didn't say, hey, you squirrel over there. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. Here I come. No, he's gone right then. When I've seen him try to herd another animal, he doesn't warn. He just goes. When you watch a wolf, they stalk, and then they get ready, and then they go. They don't go, hey, elk, hey, me over here. Just so you know, I'm going to give you a little bit of a head start, and then I'm going to come after you. They don't. For aggression to be effective, whether it's predatory aggression, whether it's aggression in intergroup control, it must be swift. And so I do believe that this is one of the most plausible causes, is that when we inhibited some forms of aggression, when we reinforced other forms of aggression, when we took dogs and morphed them from their ancestor, the wolf, all of these pressures put on them. Some dogs, we want you to immediately be aggressive. Other dogs, not so. But herding dogs, terriers, man, all of these dogs, when they become aggressive very quickly, just due to those selective pressures that we put on them, where there was no warning. And so that just kind of flows into the within group, the social day-to-day interactions with other resident dogs and also with the dog's owners. Okay, so what to do about it? Again, we scratch our heads all day long and wonder, why did our domestic dogs decide to no longer warn? A lot of them. And I tell you what, I'm starting to meet more and more that don't warn than those that do. A couple reasons why. First of all, here's what you need to do about it. Understand this. If it happened once, it's more likely going to happen again. Absolutely. Winners win in the wild, losers lose. And why do I win? Because it works. It works. I keep redoing whatever works. If some delivery guy were to drive up right now, guarantee my 3 dogs would go rawr, rawr, rawr at the door. And guarantee that the delivery driver would eventually leave. It works. And if it works, there's no need to modify it. Maybe ratchet it up a notch, but no need to go away from it altogether. So if your dog got any perceived success to either controlling something, defending it, or acquiring it, then I guarantee you it will happen again. So knowing that, you need the freeze frame. Again, I know you're going to jump back and go, ow, that hurt, and what the heck, and oh my gosh, I hate you, dog, whatever. But when you've counted to 10, or maybe even 20, and you calm down, you need to go back and look at that event like a movie reel, frame by frame by frame. What was it that I was doing the moment I received a bite without any warning? And again, in my client's case, he was sitting on the sofa right next to his dog. Well, this is a new dog. He just adopted this dog about a week ago. And he decided, after talking to me, that's okay to have the dog up on the furniture. I really don't care if dogs are on furniture, as long as you can control dogs on furniture, and as long as dogs on furniture don't bite you because they don't want you on there with them, or they don't want you to attempt to get them off that furniture. As soon as that happens, rules change right then and there. Well, he allowed the dog up onto the furniture. And he already pet this dog probably 9,000 times up to this very moment. He pet the dog while on a walk, while doing training, just a pet. But then the dog hopped up on the sofa and he's laying right there next to him. And after a few minutes, he reached over there to pet the dog, and right then there was a bite. Now, more than likely, that dog had tried that out with previous owners before he landed in this household, and it had worked. But what I advised him to do was, hey, tell you what, how about no longer either no longer on the couch, or how about you just don't pet the dog when it's on the couch, just for now, till we get a little bit deeper in this and figure out what we can do. Maybe a verbal command like off. So you hop off the couch, and you've proven to me that you don't bite me when you're not on the sofa. Learn things like that. Learn what to do. If it happens, it will happen again, I guarantee it, under the same or similar circumstances. And what you need to do is prevent those things until you can work through it with training. Another example is your dog has a pair of socks in its mouth, and you just reach down to take it. The dog nips, no warning, no growl, no stare, no nothing. Just boom. Okay, note to self. I was reaching for a pair of socks, and I got tagged by a dog with no warning. Okay, so now let's go back to the drawing board. How about if we start keeping the dog out inside the household on a long line, perhaps? And then if the dog happens, and first of all, yeah, pick up the socks. But if the dog grabs a sock again or whatever other object it is, we work on outing from a distance. So check out those videos I've done on teaching your dog to command out or drop it. And we accomplish that. We avoid things. But the biggest thing is that we learn from it. We learn. If you get that first nip, typically they are just nips. But if you get that, learn from it. And just do not repeat it again. Stay out of that situation. Okay, what's the next thing you can do? Don't teach your dog that no warning works. And the first way you do that is by don't ignore it. If I'm approaching a dog and it stares at me, gives me that hard stare, gives me that growl, stands taunt, various forms of directed aggression right to me, I'm paying attention to that. I am going to walk away from that moment. You don't need to make physical contact with me, dog. I've lived long enough, I'm smart enough to step out of that situation, step out of that entire box, count to 10, reassess. And again, anytime you reassess anything, go through those 4 quadrants. What did you see and hear? Then what story did you just tell yourself? How did it make you feel? And now what actions are you about to take? You need to pull your heart out of that situation and use that muscle between your 2 ears. You need to approach it like a scientist. All right, I was within 4 feet of my dog while it was eating, and suddenly it growled at me. Okay, well, obviously the dog doesn't want me any closer than 4 feet when it's eating. Now, what can I do about that? Is this something that the dog will get over eventually? Well, yes. Losers lose. Why? Because they keep losing. You just got to make sure that in those situations, they lose. Or allow this to go undisturbed, meaning, hey, why don't I just feed you out back? And if you like your food that much that you're willing to bite me over it, it'll probably be gone in about 30 seconds. Easy day. Easy day. So don't teach it to your dog by ignoring their warnings. If a dog warns you and you go, oh, you're not going to growl at me in my house. Oh my gosh, how many times I've heard that from fellows out there. Yeah, you guys, the ones watching the video right now, I'm talking to you. Let it go. Step back. Think. The damage that you could do by immediately confronting the dog over that and attacking the dog, oh, it would take me 100 videos to explain all of the collateral damage that would occur. You need to be man up, stand back, evaluate, assess, learn. How can I approach this a little bit differently? How can we get out of this with the least amount of stress or injury to either one of us? Learn from it. But by golly, you go in there and you crack that darn dog right then and there. All right, you just tell me, forget warning next time, buddy. I won't give you the benefit of a warning. I won't show you my hand. I'll just sucker punch you. Okay, the other thing, Make sure that you also don't teach your dog about the benefits of not warning by not warning yourself. Case in point, if I feel I need to correct any of my dogs for any behavior they're performing at that moment, I will warn them. What's a warning? Something like, hey, no, stop that. Phooey. Hey, no, we're not going there. Give them some warning. Give them an opportunity. Excuse me, just like they would give you. What you want back. Give it to them. No. Okay, now I can physically correct you. But I did warn you. I did warn you. Remember, especially those dogs who don't have the benefit of observing the behavior of other dogs in the household. They're just not around a bunch of other dogs for whatever reason. Whether it's been the pandemic, whether it's because of your work schedule. They observe you. Remember, when you live in a group, you are constantly monitoring the behavior of your nearest neighbor and then responding to their behavior. You learn through free exploration, but you also learn through mimicry. So they see you not warn, especially if you do have other resident dogs. They see you not warn and just immediately correct the other dog. Note to that himself, look how that worked. Worked out for him like a champ. When it comes to social behaviors, observations, wow, they're incredibly brilliant and very observant animals. You'd be the same way if you didn't have a language and you just had to watch everyone and use a lot of body English to get anything done. Okay, last thing, control the stress response. For some dogs, they go way up in the stress response, way high. I've talked about that before in previous videos. Control it. Control it. The closer you are to that calm zone, or about the middle of the arousal column, you're still good. You got enhanced cognition. You can learn a lot of things. You're ready to seize the day. You go above that, you start becoming distressed, and then you start to reach this reactionary level, panic level, and it is game over right then and there. Game over. For many dogs who act out immediately without a warning, some of these dogs do it for maladaptive reasons. They perceive a threat where no threat really exists. And even a wild wolf wouldn't think that that threat exists. Therefore, if you have dogs like that that just without warning nip everyone all the time, day in, day out, nighttime, it doesn't matter, over food, over toys, over couches, it just doesn't matter. You have a dog constantly nipping another dog, constantly nipping another human being. We need to talk about that. That's uniquely different than a dog whose strategy has changed. Okay, so there you go. That's it on no warning. No warning. Take what I've written on this board back here, take a screenshot of it. There you go. Write it down. Learn from it. I can say with absolute certainty, I have never been bitten, never been sucker punched twice by the same dog. So again, if it happens, good luck preventing it from happening altogether. I do think we have rewired our dogs' brains. I think that we've gotten rid of a lot of inhibited type attacks. But nevertheless, it is what it is. We are where we are today. Follow these steps. I guarantee you, you won't get sucker punched twice. And those around you, your family, especially the small young ones, the children, they shouldn't get sucker punched at all. Because you learned, so help teach them and help prevent this situation altogether. Okay, next video I'm going to do on aggression. We're going to talk about how does it manifest itself at all. Why do I have a dog that I spent a lot of money on as a puppy, did textbook socialization, textbook exposure, and I still have a dog that is unusually fearful and as a result has become very aggressive? We'll go over that. Then we'll talk about you midnight dog walkers out there. What happens when you go for a walk? What is that drives you to walk your dog at midnight when you're a daytime living creature yourself? On and on. There's so many peculiarities that are associated with dogs. I hope to cover those in all the upcoming videos, so stay tuned for those. And in the meantime, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. It's coming, baby. It's coming. All right, so make sure we all warn. Take care, man. Be safe out there.